161.
I call Dr Liz Craig.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's an absolute pleasure to follow on from Chloe Shawbuck in terms of my supplementary order paper number 175, which also takes a health-based approach to this issue. And what it proposes is that a judge can adjourn the proceedings at any time after someone's been convicted of an offence, but before imposing a sentence, to find more information about the opportunities for rehabilitation, and that's either in custody or the community. And also where the offender is in need of health, including mental health services, to look at whether those services are best delivered in custody or in the community. Because I actually agree with the intent of this bill, which is to reduce the huge impact that synthetic drugs are having in our community. But if we're going to be doing something about it and taking this whole process through Parliament, we've actually got to make sure that any intervention we put in place actually works. And the problem we've got here is where you've got somebody who may be a dealer but simultaneously is actually using synthetic drugs and then has become addicted to those drugs and then has become involved in the supply side in order to fund their habit. We're not going to have any impact of just increasing penalties if you're dealing with an underlying addiction. And I just want to talk about the story of Emma, and her story appeared in the New Zealand Herald in September last year. And Emma, I don't think it's her real name, she basically said when the whole synthetics issue started, she hated everything about it. And she said she was very anti the drug and would never use it. And then suddenly she found that her and her partner were using up to an ounce a day. And she said the first time I tried it, I didn't actually like it. But then over time, she wasn't actually aware of when the addiction actually started. But once it had started and kicked in, it was really, really hard to stop. And so, in a short time, Emma and her partner were addicted and were spending about $1,000 a week on their combined habit. And so, to fund that, they started selling synthetics because she said we had to find some way of paying for their addiction. And so within a month, her and her partner went from just using it to running a business 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And basically, Emma decided that she couldn't face that addiction any longer, and she went cold turkey and stopped. But it took her partner another 8 months to actually stop using synthetics. And I think at the time the story was written in the Herald, Emma had been free of drugs for about 2 years, but she said that every day she lived with that guilt about what she'd put into her community. And so I think in cases like this, where what we're dealing with is actually an underlying addiction, I don't think that tougher penalties are going to turn that situation around. And so this is why we need to take that health-based approach that Chloe was speaking about. And what this
Order.
SOP...
Chloe
Shawbuck was talking about. And what it does is it allows the judge to consider where an offender is in need of health or mental health services, what options are available to that offender, and whether they're best served in custody or the community. So I really encourage the member in charge of this bill to consider that health-based approach as we move forward. Thank you.
Dr Deborah Russell.
Madam Chair, I rise